Hello everyone, welcome to this talk. I'm Gunu Kim from Secure Systems and Software Lab at UCI. The title of this talk is Improving Cross-Platform Binary Analysis Using Representation Learning via Graph Alignment. In this presentation, we introduce a deep learning approach to generate binary code embeddings that can be well aligned across different platforms. This is a collaboration with faculties from Yonsei University and Oregon State University. The problem I'm going to talk about is binary code similarity analysis. Binary analysis is especially useful when researchers does not have a source code for the target binary. It can also be used for tremendous downstream tasks such as clone search, malware search, and similarity detection. Traditionally, to solve this problem, there has been two approaches, static analysis and dynamic analysis. Static analysis mostly focuses on syntactic similarity, and it has a complete code coverage. But it suffers from the low accuracy because there can be syntactically similar but semantically different components. On the other hand, dynamic analysis examines the execution trace, and that's why it can better capture the semantic similarity. However, it requires too much overhead. So traditional approaches are usually located between these and focus on controlling the trade-off. Recently, learning-based approach has attracted much attention from researchers because of its efficiency and accuracy in many downstream tasks. In learning-based approach, embedding, which is a low-dimensional numeric vector, is used to represent entities with diverse granularity that can be found in binary, such as instruction or basic block. In most cases, neural network is used for the embedding model to transfer the binary code into an embedding space. Then the binary analysis now can be conducted in this newly created embedding space. However, in some cases, we want to analyze binaries in cross-platform setting where the same binary is compiled for different operating systems or different architectures. Therefore, in this case, we should deal with the binary code that have the same semantics but have different platform-specific syntax. This makes it hard to implement the accurate embedding model that can align the binary code embeddings across different platforms. For example, operating system-specific API can only be used in specific OS. Therefore, the source code is preprocessed before compiling so that different source code is compiled for different operating systems. Another example is handwritten assembly, which is written for a specific architecture. This is especially found in many cryptographic libraries and has different syntax according to the target architecture. So our goal is to implement good embedding model that can unify embedding space across different platforms. To make this happen, we introduced XBA, a platform-agnostic binary code embedding model. Our main idea is that if we include the rich contextual information into a basic block embedding, then the embedding can be aligned across different platforms. To do that, we first suggest a typed graph representation to encode the contextual information that can be found in the binary like function call or control flow. And then we formulate this problem as a graph alignment problem of two graphs, which has basic blocks as nodes and the contextual information as edges. Specifically, we utilize graph convolutional network, which show the state-of-the-art performance in recent studies. We checked that XBA outperformed all the baseline models, and with a few case studies, we could show that XBA is actually useful in practice. Before we dive into the method, let's see how to generate the training data. As a deep learning model usually requires a lot amount of training data, XBA also needs many pre-aligned basic block pairs. These pre-aligned basic block pairs are usually generated by source code line information in the debug information, or also can be generated by multiple compiler invocation on the same source code line. However, platform-specific code pairs cannot be generated in this way because they're not compiled from the same line of code. This means that platform-specific code pairs should be manually included in the training dataset. Otherwise, the embedding model cannot learn the semantic alignment between those platform-specific code. But considering that 3 to 40% of basic blocks are not aligned in our dataset, it is virtually impossible to manually generate pre-aligned pairs for platform-specific code. Because of this, state-of-the-art embedding models cannot learn the semantic alignment between the platform-specific code since they take either unsupervised learning approach or supervised learning approach. Let's assume that objective of analysis is comparing those two basic blocks starting with POR and ORR instruction each. The left part of the slide is a model from DeepInDiff, which learns the embedding with the information only available within a binary. So it cannot effectively align the target block pairs that is across different ISA. The model at the right side is from InnerEye, which cannot align the target pair either, because it utilized two identical LSTMs that can only learn the semantic between the label pairs. So the challenges can be summarized as follows. First, we need to learn the semantic alignment from non-labeled pairs. And we achieve this by taking semi-supervised learning approach with graph convolutional network. And we train the embedding model by formulating the problem as a graph alignment, which leads to the use of contrastive loss. In our semi-supervised learning approach, the embedding model learns the semantic alignment between labeled pairs, and the embedding of each basic blocks are generated by gathering the contextual information from the neighbors of the target basic block. Therefore, during the training, aligning the labeled pairs spontaneously leads to aligning the unlabeled pairs. To achieve this, we used graph convolutional network for our embedding model. We trained this model by using margin-based ranking loss, which makes positive pairs closer and the negative pairs apart. The set of positive pairs is pre-aligned training dataset, whereas the negative pairs are randomly generated by matching non-semantically similar basic blocks. With this training objective, we could make the embeddings of both labeled pairs and unlabeled platform-specific pairs have the similar value, and make the embeddings of negative pairs far apart from each other. The following is the overall design of XBA. It first disassembles a binary and extract pre-aligned pairs using the debug information. And then the base node features, which will be fed into the embedding model, is generated from the raw assembly language. After this raw data is pre-processed, the graph builder makes the typed graph and put it into graph convolutional network. And the model is trained with the pre-aligned label pairs augmented with negative samples. In the inference time, XBA rank each pairs of embedding in nearest order. To validate the performance of XBA, we answer the following research questions. We will only talk about the above two in this talk, and you can check the rest of evaluation results in the paper. In evaluation, we brought three models as baseline. The first model is bag of words, which is a natural language processing technique to represent a sentence by counting the occurrence of each word. InnerEye and DeepInDiff are a representative model from unsupervised learning approach and supervised learning approach. We implemented XBA with bag of words and DeepInDiff node feature, and then compare the performance with the three baselines. To compare the performance, we use the HIT score as our primary evaluation metric, which is the standard metric in many similarity detection tasks. When an embedding for the target node is given, it first lists all embeddings generated from the counterpart graph and sort them in ascending order using a certain distance metric such as Manhattan distance. And then it calculates the ratio of aligned pairs ranked within several k values. Therefore, the smaller the rank, the better, and the larger the HIT score, the better. Our dataset for training is selected from the top GitHub repository since the open source software natively support multiple operating systems and multiple architectures, which means that they have many platform-specific components. For more details about the dataset, you can refer to the evaluation section in our paper. To answer the first research question, we trained the models only with the half of the pre-aligned dataset and consider the rest of the dataset as impossible to obtain, like platform-specific pairs. The test result is reported with this unseen dataset during the training. And XPA indeed outperformed the three baselines by 1 to 25% in cross-OS setting and 27 to 75% in cross-ISA setting. With this result, we can see that XPA better aligns basic blocks across different platforms than the baselines. For the second research question, we trained XPA with the entire dataset and tested on a few manually selected platform-specific code pairs, which are not included in the dataset. This is the most similar experiment to the real scenario where researchers actually use XPA for their analysis task. And it turns out that XPA could align all the pairs within top 0.88% or higher. You can check more results in the paper other than the examples shown in the slide. And it is worth noting that XPA can align platform-specific code pairs within the top 0.13% on average, which means that researchers only have to inspect 0.13% of the whole candidates. Therefore, we are expecting that XPA will save researchers a tremendous amount of time when conducting cross-platform binary analysis. Even though XPA shows the outstanding performance in generating high-quality embeddings, there are still some areas for improvement. First, many obfuscation techniques are suggested recently to deceive the similarity detecting tool. XPA can be further improved to be robust to those obfuscation techniques. Next, XPA can be implemented with the better node feature other than bag of words or definitive. And lastly, we can improve the quality of negative samples by using a semantic-aware method. So far, we have introduced you XPA that can generate platform-agnostic embeddings for binary code. It showed the outstanding performance compared to other learning-based approaches, and a practicality of XPA is also proven by our case study. We open-sourced XPA, and all the experiment results and the dataset can be found in this website. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to get questions.